What's going on, everybody out there? It's Ron Brown, on the check-in. Thank you guys for coming out this evening. I really appreciate it. We got the brother back, Ahmed. Before we go into it, let me turn this music off first of all. Oh, we got to work the sound effects. Hey, I want to let everyone know, okay, before my brother Calvin Muhammad hits me up about this, the reason why I'm not clean shaven today is because I've been working I do this neck exercise with this thing for my neck, to strengthen my neck because all the crazy stuff I do. And the material was scraping against my face, and I got up in the morning with this big giant knot in my face like this, like some kind of irritation. So it's gone down now, and now I'm just waiting till it goes all the way down before I start shaving again, just to let everybody out there know who's watching, my comrades and stuff like that. Yes, thank you for coming out this evening, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. How are you?
Life is good, man. How about yourself?
All praises due to Allah. Everything is wonderful. As long as I'm above ground, it's good. It's a good day.
Yeah, that's what I like that saying. They say that. They do say that.
Yes,
your skin is real clean, brother. Clear and youthful. Are you eating one meal a day?
No. I used to for years. Excuse me. I used to for years, but due to health problems, I have to eat at least twice a day.
Okay.
All right. And I thank you for the compliment. People ask me how old I am, and when I tell them, they say, "What do you do?" And my response is what I don't do.
I like that.
Okay. It's not what I do, it's what I don't do. So you try to keep your stress levels down, eat properly, think properly.
Think properly.
Be a good person.
Be a good person.
and not burn up all that energy being negative.
Right.
Negative, what I would call them energy vampires away from you.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure.
What I call, stupid people. Stupid people. Because you'll commit intellectual suicide trying to talk to one, trying to explain your mind to them. You know what I mean?
So, I'm learning that, brother.
Yeah. Well, see, because some people can't be saved, and a lot of people don't want to be. They're comfortable.
Right.
Ignorance is bliss. And this is the day that we were warned about, the time when truth will be hated. Truth will be ignored, so we're in that day and time. So you talk to people, if they want to learn, that's fine. Don't waste your time. As the Master Farad Muhammad put it in the problem book, do not waste your time on rusty locks. They're poison. And he said the time allotted to trying to open a rusty lock is insufficient. We don't have time for that. Okay, we don't have time to deal with poison-minded people who don't want to use reason, and don't argue with them. Just keep it moving. There's a lot of people out here that want to know the history, the truth, and where they stand in the universe. And so this is our job as teachers to help them out. You don't waste time on people that want to ignore the truth. They're the ones that the Holy Quran tells you about. They want proof. Well, you can bring them all the proof in the world, and they still find a reason not to believe it. You can bring them an angel, stand them next to you. They wouldn't believe it. Okay, so that's that. So that's a sad case of affairs today. There's you have a vast amount of information, yet the people are less smart and more ignorant than ever before. It's like it's a contradiction. This is the information age, but people want to ignore the information. They would rather argue with you than to sit up and reason out what you were saying to them. And go behind the speaker or the writer or whoever and verify if what they're saying is the truth. The Holy Quran tells us that. Verify all information that comes before you, because I, meaning Allah, gave you eyes, ears, and a brain, and it's up to us to use. That's the Holy Quran 17:36. So, time out for being a blind follower. That's no excuse. Ignorance today is really no excuse. Not today.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's a fact. So now I want to talk about the Black Boule. This is an important subject, especially for people who would consider themselves Black conscious, if you will, conscious, because I don't know what era the audience come up through, but from my era, I came up through the 90s and the 2000s, the early 2000s. So, I caught wind of the Boule a lot through like brothers like Bobby Hemmett, Dr. Phil Valentine, and for the most part, those two are the ones who made mention of the Boule a lot, from what I recall. So what's the history of the Boule? What's your information on the Boule?
Okay, now I learned about the Boule from, excuse me, I have to get my notes up here. I learned about the Boule from the late brother Steve Coakley. Way back in 1990, he was the one that broke the scoop. All right, they had been in hiding from 1904 up to that point. Someone had did an article on the Boule, and people can bring it up, and you go to newspapers.com, I believe, and you can pull up the article dated the 7th. July 19th, 1990. And I believe it's the Los Angeles Times, but he had did a series of articles and lectures on the Boule. And that's how I found out about them. And like you said, we're into Black culture and we're into being ourselves. Okay. And to me, the Boule is everything other than Black culture. Okay. They're the gatekeepers, the white supremacists, and you have 5,000 men or more in America that are the richest Black people in the country. And yet, look at our condition. Okay. They have, a lot of them were informants for the government. We can get a lot of them. A lot of them were informants, known informants. A couple of them was Jesse Jackson, the late Jesse Jackson, and Al Sharpton.
Wait, so Jesse Jackson was an informant?
Yeah. He was Boule as well. Yeah. So check out the lectures from the early 90s by the brother Steve Coakley.
Okay.
On the Boule. He breaks it down. Okay, well, we're going to do an overview. Here's a book that if you were running to a brother that's a member of the Boule or not so much the Boule or any frat, because there's any of the so-called Black Greek fraternities and sororities, show them this book here. After you read it real good, and you ask this brother, why are you a part of the Greek tradition and you're a Black person? All right.
I never understood that. I just I never of all the things to be a part of,
right?
I mean, unless it has something to do with getting themselves up the corporate ladder or something like that. Like, so they want to be prosperous and things. So they figured, let me be a part of this because this will give me connections to, stuff like that.
That is exactly why they join. Some join because out of tradition. their parents or grandparents were in it. Okay. And that's the goal of these, a lot of these groups. They will lure the younger people in, either through tradition or they want to, they have the belief that they're going to gain some special information, special knowledge that has been kept from the masses. Okay. And so they're searching for light. Okay. But let's get to this book here, Stolen Legacy. All right. By Professor George E.M. James.
Yep.
You've heard of that?
Oh, yeah. Come on, brother.
Okay. Well, you know, I don't know. I know. You know where I'm going to go with this then.
Yeah. I'm waiting.
Okay. So Professor James, and he died mysteriously in 1954 after he wrote this book. Okay. Now he states here, quote, "The term Greek philosophy to begin with is a misnomer. For there is no such philosophy in existence. The ancient Egyptians had developed a very complex religious system called the mysteries, which was also the first system of salvation. As such, it regarded the human body as a prison house of the soul, which could be liberated from its bodily impediments through the disciplines of the arts and sciences and advance the level of a mortal to that of a god." End quote. I'm gonna stop right there. Okay. So he's saying there's no such thing as Greek philosophy. It's all plagiarism. It's the philosophies and educational and religious system of the Kemites, the original people of Kemet. And we know that's our people. Remember, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the original man chose the rich Nile Valley and the holy city Mecca, Arabia, chose the best part of the planet for themselves, didn't he? Okay, so that's our people. Okay. And they were trying to elevate mortal man to the God stage. Okay. That falls in line with what Master Farad Muhammad came here to do. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated that Master Farad Muhammad said to him, "I did not come here to give you the mind of the prophets. They were servants. I came to give you my mind, the mind of God." Okay. And that's what he taught us. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated that he didn't want a nation of followers. He wasn't trying to build a nation of followers, but a nation of gods. Okay. So we have to look at our own history back over and see we have a new Islam coming in. I notice this is the subject on the Boule, but it's very important that we understand these things because we're supposed to know thyself and be thyself. We're not Greeks. Okay. And you still have a lot of Muslims that have joined these fraternities. All right. Whether knowingly or unknowingly, if you're 17, 18 years old, you're just getting out of high school, what are you going to know about a frat?
Right.
You're just going to join because mom and dad and granddaddy was in it. May offer you some social mobility. You make network, business connections, et cetera, et cetera. But behind that, what's in that is a whole nother ritual or religion. And you praying and honoring Greek deities. Okay, you giving high praise to Greek intellect, and they stole from you and me and put their name on it. No such thing as Greek philosophy. Professor James went on and he said this. He said there should be a new philosophy of redemption. Being a revelation of truth in the history of Black people's civilization must become a necessary portion of their education and must be taught for generations and centuries to come in order to fill them with the inspiration and pride to liberate them from mental servitude. Okay.
Okay.
He went on to state, in the second place, in this negative attitude, the Black people must demonstrate their disbelief in the false worship of Greek intellect. This should be done in the following 3 ways. They must discontinue the practice of quoting Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle in their speeches as intellectual models, because we know that they must relinquish membership in all Greek letter fraternities and sororities. Number 3, they must abolish all Greek letter fraternities and sororities from colored, that shows you how long ago this was, colored colleges, because they have been the source of the promotion of inferiority complex and of educating the Black people against themselves. End quote. Again, this is from Stolen Legacy, page 160 and 161. All right. So if you worship in Greek intellect, okay, and you're actually brainwashing the future youth to be white adjacent, okay, and to be upholders and take an oath to uphold white supremacy and keep your own Black people down, okay. Well, one of the reasons the Boule was started was to combat or go against the Garvey movement, okay, because they wanted young, college professionals. So it was a conspiracy, okay, to bring in these well-to-do or upper middle class Black people. All right, start a group so they can be the buffer zone between the masses of Black people and the system. Okay, the Boule is called the advisors to the king. Okay, they purposely take a subordinate role. Okay, have we been subordinate enough? I mean,
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
So, yeah. So let's go here. I just like to say that the Boule was a Sigma Pi Phi. Okay, and that is means the Council of Noblemen, and it was founded on May 15th, 1904. Okay, and it currently has about 5,000 or so members. Now, it was patterned after the Skull and Bones of Yale University.
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
I remember that.
Okay, now look at that date, 1904. How did they get a hold of how Yale University was Skull and Bones was set up? And that's a secret society of racist white men. But Mr. Milton, what's his the gentleman's name was the founder of the Boule was Henry Milton. Okay, and he was the grandsire, grandsire archon. We know the archon is a devil.
Right. Got you.
Right? Archon is the devil. Archon is the rulers of a realm within the kingdom of darkness.
Right.
Right?
Yes, sir.
And they're androgynous. Right?
Okay.
Okay. And so I'm trying to keep it clean. You know, part of these secret societies, they use a lot of blackmail, sexual blackmail.
Now, okay, so since we're here, all right, we hear sexual blackmail. Let's hold that thought before we go there. Someone, Robert Platinum, says, "I thought the Boule was just a term to describe the uppity members of our society." No, sir. How old are you, Robert Platinum? Are you in your 20s? Just asking. So yeah, so blackmail.
Blackmail.
Is this something likened to what P. Diddy was doing out there, taking video. So he wasn't he? Isn't he Boule?
I believe he was. Excuse me, but see that skull and bones. You don't have to take video so much. What they do from the leak that came out in the early 2000s concerning skull and bones was that you have to lay down in a casket naked,
Right,
and tell all your sexual proclivities, okay, and other things. All right. So now they got something on you. They got something on everybody. You got me?
right,
Everybody that belongs to that organization, they have something on each other.
right.
Okay. From sexual orgies, homosexual orgies, heterosexual orgies. You got me?
Gotcha.
They got you. All right. They know your proclivities. They know your secrets. All right. So they have something on you. And you swore an oath anyway, not to say a word. Okay. Period.
Right.
All right. And so, see, they were so deep into trying to stop the Garvey movement. W.E.B. Du Bois was one of the founding members of the Boule in New York. Yeah. And
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I heard he was part of the Boule.
No. Let's
He
see
was one
here.
of the founding fathers.
He was one of the founding members of
Members.
their order, their chapter in New York.
So the Boule didn't start in New York.
No.
Okay.
Mr. Milton, he was a doctor, Dr. Henry Milton. He's from the South Carolinas.
Okay.
Okay. So going here, it is formed, pattern on the skull and bones. And they were the main ones behind integration. Okay. The integration push, the civil rights push. At the same time, you had these members overlap. You had some members of the Boule that were some of the founding Black members of the NAACP. Okay. Interesting thing about Mr. Du Bois. He went against Garvey hard, and then end up doing the very same things Garvey was advocating. He died in Africa and Ghana. Okay. The hypocrisy of it all. Okay. All right. He went against Garvey hard. He was part of that movement to get him deported. Okay. The Boule even had a chapter in Monrovia, Liberia. Okay. To undermine his movement. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there's some books that you may want to get if you can find them. There's a book called The History of Sigma Pi Phi, and it was written by the Boule historian Charles Wesley. Okay. Mr. Charles Wesley also wrote a book called Prince Hall Life and Legacy. So he was a Mason. See, the Boule was started by Freemasons. It was started by 6 Black men who were Freemasons, Black Masons. All right. So it's nothing but Freemasonry for college students, entry level. And they take a bound for life. Okay. All right. They take a bound for life. So some of the leading members of the Boule was Martin Luther King. All right. Ralph Bunche, Thurgood Marshall, John Lewis, Mr. Obama, the first so-called Black president. Okay. He's a member of the Boule. All right. Secret society.
Okay.
They were called actually the New House Negroes. The making of the New House Negro. Okay.
Now you say Obama was a Boule, as in a part of the Sigma Pi Phi.
Yes. He's an archon.
Got you.
He's an archon. They call themselves demons. Okay, call themselves demons. So you call yourself black, but yet you want to be a part of the people that's been keeping us down for over 100 years. Okay, infiltration, undermining organic black movements, being informants. Okay, they do that. Okay, you might be a person in some town. They're everywhere in every city, big and small. If he's a prominent black person or they're a prominent black man or woman in politics or whatever, 9 times out of 10, they're a boule. All right. And if you get too big and vocal, they might drop a dime on you to the man. They're informants. Okay. All right. They took an oath to uphold this system. And the benefit is that they're wealthy. Okay. Well-to-do. The doors open up for them because they are the advisors to the king. Who's the king?
White man.
Right. That's right. They're the king. All right. And so they also called a talented 10th.
I heard of that, but I don't remember like exactly what it was. I've heard this so long ago, though, like in one of these lectures. And so the talented 10 would be who?
They're the upper echelon black people.
Okay.
The business people, black billionaires, multimillionaires. Okay. Corporation leaders, CEOs. Okay. Doctors, lawyers, entertainers. Okay. All right. Now you could be, see, to be in the Boule, to be in Sigma Pi Phi, you have to be invited. They do a background check on you. All right. See if do you meet their class structure? All right. And if you have a pretty blemishless persona, okay. Now you could you can be a Boule member in the Sigma Pi Phi and also be an Omega, a Kappa, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You can belong to both. The Boule, the Sigma Pi Phi, controls the divine 9. You've heard of that term, the divine 9. And those are the 9 college fraternities and sororities. Okay. And so that talented 10th, right? Du Bois coined that term, W.B. Du Bois. And what did Master Farad Muhammad say about them 10%?
Bloodsuckers of the poor.
Bloodsuckers of the poor. Exactly. All right. So they said that the upper 10th of the blacks started to live the good life as Boule members, while the majority of ordinary black people were disenfranchised. That's true. That happened, didn't it? Okay. They were able to thrive undetected amongst us from 1904 to 1990. That's a secret society. Okay. And so look at this. During all that turmoil, you had these very rich black men and women who knew what was going on in the system, didn't give us heads up, but they were just looking out for themselves. Okay. All right. In their class. Now, as black people, we can't afford to be in a class struggle within our own people. We can't afford that. All right. We can't afford people working against us when we're trying to liberate ourselves. All right. And working for the system to keep us down. All right. So you had in the civil rights movement, in the liberation movement, you had the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for example, calling for separation and reparations. What I mean by that, he wanted some land and wanted the government to fund us for 25 to 30 years until we were able to take care of ourselves. all right, and give us everything we needed to go for self. That would have been proper reparations for us.
Mm-hmm.
Then here comes the counter argument that the white man threw in the mix: integration. All right, knew that was a trick. You spent your whole time trying to stay away from us, killing us if we even looked at you wrong. Now all of a sudden, you offering the white woman up, and you pushing integration and civil rights through these black people, these Negroes, so-called Negroes. Okay. All right. Dr. King, he comes with, and the other civil rights movement was talking about integration. All right. The messenger was talking about separation. All right. And that was going against they plan for us. Okay. They don't want us to be free and independent, educated, prosperous people, period. So they put this buffer in there, the Boule, to keep us from going for self. They undermine the movement, cause confusion amongst our people. Okay. Dr. King was a great orator. And you know, black folks like some good preaching.
Oh, for sure.
Okay. Okay. So if you can string some words together eloquently with charisma, you got them. You got them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And he's now then when he changed, this is how the Boule are. He started changing after he met the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Nearly a year to the day after Malcolm X was assassinated by the United States government. Okay, he went to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's house in Chicago. And the FBI was listening in on their conversation. And when Dr. King agreed with the messenger that the white race or race of devils, among other things he had agreed with, that's when they had made up their mind to take him out. Also, when he started speaking out against the Vietnam War. All right, he had to change. Okay, he went from the domestic front to a more international rebuke of the United States, saying that the United States was the #1 purveyor of violence in the world. And that was in 1968. Okay. His own people turned on him. These black preachers turned on him. The black preachers that were around him turned on him. Matter of fact, the photographer that took all the pictures with Dr. King while he was doing the marches and whatnot, he was the FBI informant. Okay. And look at the balcony scene with Jesse Jackson and Ralph Abernathy. Okay. Right. They say the targets was anybody in a necktie. And the people that was on their side didn't wear neckties. Now, who's standing up there without a necktie?
Yeah, Jesse. I think he had a turtleneck on.
Turtleneck on or something, and a blue jean jacket.
I think something like that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So these people have dedicated their life to protecting the system. To protecting the system. Okay. And going against us as a people. So we shouldn't be involved in that. Okay. And there's a lot of people nowadays I've been noticing that were a part of these fraternities and sororities. They're waking up and they're exposing the rituals. Okay. They're exposing what they're doing. They see it as anti-God. Okay. In the monotheistic sense. The Christians are even speaking out against being a part of the Boule. Because see, they are hide, some of the Boule hide behind a Christian faith. Okay. But when they start doing the rituals, they say it's something else. Okay. For example.
I just want to acknowledge creator of the boundless universe. Thanks for the $2. I really appreciate you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what they call the chat thing. You can donate to the channel through the chat. Have I led my people into a burning house? He's talking about when what Martin Luther King said.
Right.
All right.
That's right. He
So you
realized, yeah,
Mhm.
he realized he had made a mistake. All right. He started speaking out, and then they took him out. If you want to hear a deep speech, excuse me, by Dr. King, one of his last speeches was around March of 1968. He did in the church there in New York City. If you listen to that speech, okay. See, after that speech, that was it. Okay. See, he broke the oath. Okay. He went off script. You got me? And they took him out. All right. There's an interesting book you need to get as well. It's called The White Man's Dilemma, 1927. I have a copy. And in that book, this devil admits that anytime you start speaking straight what Jesus taught in public, so-called quote unquote Christianity, the full weight of society will come down upon you.
Mm.
That's what happened to Dr. King. All right. See, his Christian faith kicked in. What would Jesus do? It's the type of thing kicked in. And he went off script. As long as he was talking about integration, all right. And see, integration broke up our Black economic base. Okay, integration destroyed that because Black people were buying amongst themselves. We had our own Black economy, thanks to Honorable Elijah Muhammad and other people. Okay, and so once the integration thing kicked in, people stopped patronizing Black businesses. Okay, because they still had that I want to be next to massa routine. See, if you base or think your history started with slavery as a Black person in North America, anything after that is an improvement. You got me?
Actual fact.
Okay, so that's what happened.
Oh, sorry about that. Hold on one second.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, hold on. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. All right. We're back.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So if you grew up doing Jim Crow, okay, and other atrocities and lynchings and what have you, and then all of a sudden they're saying, oh, you can participate as being a citizen. Okay. That's all a lot of our people ever wanted to be, free movement, but they took that and went somewhere else with it. Okay. You know, instead, I'm of the age when I remember my parents and grandparents having to have the green book to ride around this place, called the United States. Okay. Which areas were safe, where the sundown towns are, which people serve Black people in restaurants or let you use the restroom. Okay. I've been on a mini trip with that green book when I was a small child. Okay. We had to take out food with us and used to have some areas you had to have a little bucket in the trunk for you to relieve yourself.
Whoa.
Okay. You dare not pull in one of them places.
Wow.
All right. They kill you. Sundown town mean exactly that. Your Black behind better be out of town by sundown.
I just want to acknowledge Robert Platinum. Thanks for the $2. Fascinating discussion, brothers. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. So let's go over briefly some of the deities that are part of a couple of these fraternities. All right. So with the Omega Psi Phi, you have Anubis. Okay. Anubis was an Egyptian. He was a god of, he weighed the scale, right? He had the scale, the feather, and the heart.
Right.
Okay. And he would weigh, if your heart was as light as a feather, you were able to enter the hereafter. Right. Meaning that basically your good deeds outweighed your bad deeds. Nobody's perfect. Okay. Okay. As long as your good deeds outweighed your bad deeds, you were good. All right. So that's one of their deities, and that's where they get the term Q dog from.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes, sir. From the Nubus.
So this thing like this?
Yeah, that's the
a
Q
new one.
dog. Yeah, that's they making the Q sign.
Okay.
The letter Q. Okay. And so you have Anubis, Shekinah, which is a female deity. Okay. Is the foundation of wisdom person. And she's called the spirit of Omega. Okay. Remember last time we were talking about pagans and how they have female deities. But they actually worship Satan, according to Islam. Okay. Then their other deity is Jesus Christ. All right. And the colors that they have are gold and purple. Okay. So you have a mixture of Jesus Christ, Shekinah, and Anubis. And you have a ritual and then an oath that you take. That's something like polytheism, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So now then the Kappas, their deities are Apollo, Ares, which is the god of war, and Thoth. Right? That's the Egyptian god of knowledge and wisdom. So you mix in Thoth, which is Kemetic, with Apollo, which is Greek, and Ares, which is Greek. That's polytheism. Anytime you have an altar and some candles and what have you, and you take an oath, that's a religion. Mm-hmm. That's a religion, period. I don't care what you say. You're going in there, you're seeking light, they say, right? Okay, same thing with the Freemasons. But in Islam, we know that Allah is the light. All right? The true light is Allah. Okay? And we have a chapter called Al-Nur, the light, in the Holy Quran, which is 24 and 35. Okay? And it reads, Allah, the God, that enlightens hearts and minds and the universe. That's what he's the light of. Okay. And the chapter 24:35 states, quote, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. His light is compared to as a niche within that wherein is a lamp. The lamp is in a glass. The glass is as it were a glittering star lit from a blessed olive tree, neither east nor west, whose oil would almost glow forth of itself, though no fire touch it. Light upon light. Allah guides to his light whom he pleases, and Allah set forth comparisons for mankind. And Allah is all aware and all knowing, all wise of all things. That's the true light. So they're chasing after a false light. They're chasing after some secrets, okay? And it's nothing to it, okay? There's nothing to it. Now, and also there's a lot of hazing that goes on in those fraternities and sororities. And right. To me, that's child abuse. Because you have some grown professional men and women who come back to the college and participate in the hazing exercise of these teenagers. Okay? That's some Jeffrey Epstein stuff. Okay? To me, that's child abuse. These are teenagers, 17, 18, 19 years old. What do they know? They fresh out of high school, fresh out of their parents' house for the first time. Okay? They're excited about that. Okay? Then they're being coerced because of tradition, or they might want to accelerate in business fields or whatever. Hey, let me join this frat. Let me join this sorority. And they get dogged out. It's called mutual trauma binding. They're bound because everybody that passed the line, cross over, as they call it, has been through a trauma. As trauma bounding, being bound to a trauma, just like in the United States military. Okay, that's a form of hazing. Boot camp.
Oh yeah,
that's hazing. Okay, and that's how they bound people together through trauma, blackmail, and other things. And we as Black people shouldn't be patterning ourselves after Satan. The Sigma Pi Phi, which is over the Divine Nine, that particular branch of the head of society, Sigma Pi Phi, is based off of Skull and Bones. Okay, that's satanic. George Bush secret society and some other CIA people. There's a lot of famous Skull and Bone people. All right, it's based on the Knights of Germany, Knights Templars, and what have you. That's anti-Black, anti-God, period. Anti-Islam. Now look at Pete Hegseth. He calls himself an infidel, and he has the Knights Templar cross and the cross of Jerusalem tattooed on his body. Okay? He's an open enemy of Islam. He said he don't care if you're Shia or Shiite or whatever. His enemy is Islam.
Wow.
And that's
I gotta check that out.
He has kafir written in Arabic on his arm. He's an infidel. He is admitted infidel. All right. That's why he's doing what he's doing. Not promoting the people that are supposed to be promoted to general and other things, firing generals. How you gonna fire 20 generals during a war? Huh? Because he owned that stuff. He's a crusader. He's a modern day crusader. Okay. So Black people shouldn't be affiliated with anything that this government has set up through our people or anybody else that's going against us. And you're supposed to be Black at a Black university or whatever, and you promoting Greek intellect. That makes no sense today. That's a Negro. We should have been out of that Negro mind a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the Boule was formed in Philadelphia.
Okay. Now
that's what I was trying to get. The city of brotherly love, right? Okay. All right. And as I stated again, pattern after Yale Skull and Bones is for the upper 10% of the Black people. We got 5,000 members. They call themselves archons, which is a demon. Okay. So you think any demons are going to be on the side of Black people?
I don't think so. Now I want
because all Satanists hate Black people, even Black Satanists.
Oh, I never really looked into that, but I mean, for real, I gotta check that. That's very interesting.
If you're a devil worshiper, you anti-God, right?
Of course.
Well, you are anti-theistic. You're either an atheist or you know as a God, you just don't want to be on his side. And you notice all the satanic people and devil worshippers don't like Black folks. MAGA movement, right? The so-called Republicans, it was actually a religious and political cult. Okay, MAGA. Do you realize that MAGA is actually the 5th and highest degree of the Church of Satan? Yes, sir.
Wait, say that again, because I don't know. MAGA is what?
The highest degree in the Church of Satan. So Donald Trump running games on these people. They supposed to be Christian and all of that, and he got them in the Church of Satan. Talking about make America great again. That was the Ku Klux Klan model back in the 1920s. But he's using MAGA. He's a Satanist. Okay? He uses the acronym MAGA. He know what he's doing. Okay? He know what he's doing. That's why he's part of the Zionist movement. He's a Freemason. He converted to Judaism. His son-in-law is a Jew. Get it? But yeah, he got these Christians, so-called Christian evangelists. They Jews too, okay, because they call themselves Christian Zionists. You got black Christian Zionists. All right, they walking around in purple and gold too. You got me?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, like I said, anybody who's against us is all Satanists are anti-black. If you anti-God, you anti-black. Period. I don't care what you call yourself. If you anti-us, hey, it's time for us to be anti-them as well.
I mean, I have a bunch of questions, but a lot of them you already addressed.
Okay.
Man, you've been through all of this without me even asking.
Praise be to Allah.
Okay, here we go.
Mhm.
Why is the organization so private or secretive?
Why?
Yeah.
The best way to go after your victim is to be secretive. Okay. Say we look into black leadership and they are part of this. So we look into the people that's supposed to be helping us, and they're the ones that's working with the devil to keep us down. That's why it's a secret. One of the main reasons. Okay. They are class. Okay. We used to call them the petty black bourgeoisie back in the day. The petty black bourgeoisie. And this is the same thing that goes on not just here, but in Africa as well. You got a Boule group over there. Most of those leaders in Africa are Freemasons and corrupt.
Really?
Most of those presidents over there are Masons. Kwame Nkrumah, the first prime minister of Ghana, who met with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he was a great supporter of the messenger. Kwame Nkrumah spent a lot of time in North America back in the 30s. Okay. But when he became the prime minister of Ghana, he warned in a book called Handbook of Revolutionary Warfare. Okay. And other books, he warned about the petty black bourgeoisie and Masonic orders and Masonic societies that are undermining the revolution. All right. So that's the white man's game plan. You got to have use traitors. This man can't control. He's a minority. So he has to buy out some hypocrites and some sellouts amongst every group of persons of color so he can maintain his rulership. He has to buy these people off, offer them status. Okay. And they undermine our people. They've been doing this. They went against Mr. Garvey. They went against Noble Jew Ali. They went against the Nation of Islam, the messenger, Master Farad Muhammad. Okay. See, the great trick that the devil did after the 70s, after 1975 and so on, he put his agents as the leaders of these groups, these big time black leaders. They work for him. They didn't want to take any more chances on no organic leadership coming out of our people. If can't beat them, join them, finance them. Okay, COINTELPRO. You've heard of COINTELPRO.
Oh, of course.
Okay. Informants. A lot of those informants were Boule members. Okay. Some of the top officials in these black organizations were working for the devil. Going back, reporting on what was going on.
This just sounds so crazy to me, man.
It is. It is very crazy.
So hence why we would have this condition now. Like you know, with these young kids running around, you switches and shooting everybody up. And now what's popular now in hip hop, pop culture, whatever you want to call it, black culture right now, would be somebody named Pooh Shiesty and Gucci Mane, and Pooh Shiesty made Gucci Mane sign a contract to get him out of a contract. But I'm saying all this to say this: I can't believe how our people made this kid, who's a complete savage, so popular. And people are saying, you know, I like this kid's music. I listened to it. I listened to it just to hear what they hear. It's just straight trash.
You're
So
right.
I'm just trying to figure out, not trying to figure out, because of that, you already know the state our people are in right now. This is I'm saying all this to say, all of what they put in our way to stagnate us or keep us stagnant worked, because here we are. You know?
And see, you know, you have to have. See, I have a different point of reference on some things. Okay, I remember when they were complaining about rap music in the 90s. Okay, and it was some very negative stuff. It was what, the NWA.
Yeah,
They kicked off the negative stuff.
yeah,
Up until that point, rap was positive.
right.
Hip hop was positive. It was a whole culture. Okay, they were giving out the truth.
Right.
You know, you had rappers with Lakeem Shabazz
Hakeem Shabazz, yeah.
yeah,
He
you
was, he
know.
was on his podcast, yeah.
Oh, was he? Okay, you know, and
Yeah.
brothers like that, you know, and Public Enemy,
Right.
you know, but see, I go back to the Last Poets. That was my rappers back in the early
Gil
70s.
Scott,
Bill
Harris.
Scott Heron, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they were laying it down. Well, see, if that had kept up, black folks would have really woke up. They woke me up to things, you know. Listen to the song about the Last Poets. White man got a God complex and all of, you know, all all of that, you know. And niggas afraid of revolution.
Right.
That one, you know. And so if they
It's
had
so funny because that soundbite, that soundbite in "Niggas is Scared of Revolution" was taken, and a whole song. Puffy created a whole song completely away, like really messed that over.
right, just took it somewhere else. Yeah, yeah. And so you know, these record companies, okay, now you got streaming services, okay. They couldn't have that type of positive black message out there. So they have to insert what I call industry plants in the mix, you know, to gear the youth towards negativity, sex and violence. If you notice, during that the 90s, mid to the late 90s, the rap stars are getting into pornography. Snoop Dogg had a part where it was getting into pornography back then. You had girls gone wild with the hip hop stuff. It mixed in there.
He was doing that.
Yeah.
I didn't remember that.
Yes.
I remember he got into some fake pimp stuff.
Fake pimps. Look at that image.
Yeah.
My generation tried to destroy that image because a pimp ain't nothing but a sissy. Excuse my French. I know some people real sensitive, but I'm old school. Pimp ain't nothing but a bisexual sissy. Okay, he hates women. The pimp came in through the slave trade. Okay, all right. You had a guy at the docks, a black person, dressed elaborate, and he was a part of the sex trafficking. Then, so that's a pimp ain't nothing but a sex trafficker, an exploiter of women. Okay, ain't nothing cool about a pimp. A sissy? through exploitation. He exploits women. Right? Look how they were dressing with the pressed hair, processed hair,
Right.
high heel shoe with the fish in them. I used to see them Negroes all the time when I was growing up. They used to fall down the stairs in the air, going down the L steps in Chicago with them big shoes on ice, falling down the stairs, the long coats on. You know what I'm saying? I had comparison and contrast.
But like,
go ahead.
But that was made like the thing. Creator of the boundless universe. Thank you for the donations, brother. Today, man, you really hitting us up today, brother. Really appreciate you, man. Mm-hmm. So it became really popular, like to be a pimp, and even 50 Cent came out with a song, heard something about me, PIMP, that song. The pimp image was huge, mid 90s, early 2000s.
Right. And they regurgitated the 1970s, the negative aspects of the 1970s. Superfly, not so much Shaft, but Superfly, the Mac. A lot of exploitation films about that. Calling black women bitches. See, that's when that came in. Okay, when I was coming along, you call a black woman a bitch, she'll cut you. But they made that popular in the 1970 black exploitation. Sweet Sweetback.
Right.
That's movies like that. They made calling a black woman a bitch popular, and that's where that started in. Then it stopped. Then it picked back up in the 90s. Okay, but when I was coming along, if you had to call a black woman a bitch, you better be ready. She would cut you or have somebody else do it. They didn't play that. Okay, no, that's disrespect. You gonna call a black woman a female dog? Really?
Oh, but now that's like the regular conversation now for certain.
Ain't that sad? That's sad.
Yeah, so it'd be like excuse my French, but it'd be like, the bitch over there, that bitch, bitch. I got mad bitches. You know what I mean? Right, like that's like a part of the whole. And even the women would be like, niggas, how niggas is. They're really saying men. They're really. Right. I can't believe how it's like. They're really saying men, but they replace men with nigga.
Nigga. They're trying not to use the hard ER.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I got it. But see, we had fought so hard not to even use that word.
Right.
And then they made it popular again through the music.
Exactly.
Music is powerful. Music is powerful.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then what I see now is people coming from other countries, they pick up this language, they pick up this slang, and they make it bigger because they don't understand the history behind it all and where things were to where they are now. And they don't really even care. So it's just getting worse, like the language and things like that. Well, but see, back to Boule. I know we're going.
Back to Boule. We're gonna have to start gatekeeping ourselves. People like us, gatekeeping our own culture. Okay, and exposing our internal enemies. All right.
Can you give me an example of internal enemy right now in this day and time?
Some people ain't gonna like it, but I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it like this: anybody who's trying to lead their people into, say, Scientology, okay, and they're supposed to be a part of a movement started by black men and women. There was straight black, Nation of Islam black, for real. Anybody doing that is an internal enemy. Okay.
Where's the
anybody? Hey, I ain't got a name. They already know what they did. All right. Anybody who's calling themselves a savior when the messenger of Allah, the last messenger of Allah, told us who the savior is. That's an internal enemy. I don't care who it is. Okay. Your black politicians, if they're not trying to use their political know-how to help us as a people, that's an internal enemy. Okay. Al Sharpton is an internal enemy. What does he do? Go around and do what? Show off his perm? When he gonna get rid of that perm? He's been having that perm for a minute, even when he was fat. Okay, if he was really for the struggle, would he be on MSNBC on the propaganda arm of the state? You know, Jesse Jackson had a show briefly on CNN back in the 80s after he ran for president. Okay, that's not a freedom fighter. You're part of the establishment. You're part of the establishment. You're part of the empire. Okay. All right. And now the people are waking up to this, what they call the Epstein class, the elite. Yeah, that's a lot of them, black and white and everything else. Okay. These Arab nations over there, the GCC, the Gulf states, that's the Arab version of the Epstein class over there. Okay, that's why you don't see no big uproar with the Muslim population and the GCC when Iran bombs American bases. Yeah. They happy because those families that's been running the GCC were backed by Great Britain and United States for over 100 years, almost 200 years. Okay, they're tyrants. So the people are happy to see Iran stand up and take them out. Okay, pretty soon ain't gonna be no GCC. They're gonna get rid of their Uncle Toms. Okay. We're gonna have to stop. We're gonna have to stop supporting the people that's been working against us, brother. Period. Take away their financial support and stop listening to them because they know they're lying. And you know they've undermined the movement. Okay, we know that now. Now, what we need to do is go back to the basics and do what worked. Do what you know worked. Okay, and don't care about nobody's opinion. Who cares about their opinion? We know what works for us. We know what did work, and we know what can work. And that is the teachings and programs of what worked. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Okay, the program, the original program, whether it's now or when this war is over. Because I remember the messenger said that we'll be rebuilding the wasted cities.
Now, let me ask you this. Now, being that you said that, how can we go back to the original program when Warith Dean Muhammad, is that his name? Yeah. Basically destroyed everything, right? So whatever was before is no longer, right? So we could say the original program, and we can look at, Supreme Wisdom, the Problem Book, and the Messenger's books and things, and the way he organized his organization back in those days. But it's like bits and pieces right now. You know what I'm saying?
We have the blueprint. We have the whole structure how it was laid out.
Oh, really?
Chart wise. They just follow the master plan. It was in Muhammad Speaks. The layout of the government structure was laid out in the Muhammad Speaks several times.
Oh, wow. He made it public? Like, wow.
Yes. Guess who's been doing it since the early 90s? China. The messenger had a 3 to 5 year program. Okay, say first 5 years, we're going to work on economics. Okay. All right, we're going to get all our finest minds, our economists, to build an economic structure for our people, okay? For the next 5 years. That's what we're focusing on. Then the next one, we'll say we're doing education. Okay, for the next 5 years, we're going to be building elementary schools, colleges, etc. Get the best of the best to teach. Okay, then we're going to work on next 5 years. We're going to work on military, defense, and offense, weapons, whatever. You're going to build an army. Okay, then the next 5 years we do something else. Okay, you focus on that. All right, farming. We're gonna put all in all for the next 5 years of farming. Okay, and you have a government based on the truth. Okay.
Now,
right now, we're probably doing that after this stuff is over with.
Now, I want to say, someone in the chat asked, does the NOI have an inner circle?
What you mean the NOI? Because see, some people get confused about the inner circle, a lot NOI rather. See, some people equate Louis Farrakhan's version of events as the Nation of Islam. That is not. That's Final Call Inc. All right. And what do you mean by inner circle? A secret circle of men and women? Is that what they're getting at?
Maybe. I don't know. Let's see.
I do know, you know about the 12 major, 12 minor sciences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
that was done away with the messenger, because Master Farad Muhammad taught the messenger what he knew. There was no need for them. No more secrets. All right. Instead of just 12 men knowing who God is, we all do now, whether you accept it or not.
Indeed. Oh, he said chambers, like a chamber, like
the Moors.
Like the yeah, I'm glad you said that.
Like the Moors? No, we don't have that.
Nah, I asked that question. Well, I think I was talking to Brother Kevin Ali about that.
Mm-hmm.
No, hold on. No, I was talking to Brother Kevin Ali about how to become a part of the Mufti squad, if you will, for lack of a better term, to become a Mufti in Moorish science, you have to go through the adept chamber. And Brother Kevin Ali said, as soon as you join the Nation of Islam, you're automatically FOI.
Right.
So there's no separate, like, you know what I mean?
Then the ministers are pulled out of the FOI.
Okay.
You know, if you're pulled out of that, so you're not really a soldier. You're still a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but you're doing something else. You're a teacher's class now. You're teaching.
Got you.
You're administering to the needs of the people. If say you have a temple, your job is to administer to the needs of the people as a minister. You have a temple. That's what your job is. You're an administrator. Okay. You're running the government. All right. You got a minister. You have a captain, lieutenant, secretary, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. You got the women, MGT, GCC, captain, lieutenant. Okay. Et cetera. All right. So there go your brotherhood and your sisterhood. Right there. You don't need you won't get hazed. You won't get beat up. You're going to be taught what it means to be a man. Not a male, a man. There's a difference between a male and a man. And you're going to learn what it is to be a woman and not a female. Okay?
Right.
Difference. Yeah. We said man is God, right?
Indeed.
It didn't say male. It said man. Okay, man is God.
Right.
The creator was a man. The first creator God was a man. Who's the original man? The Asiatic black man, the maker on the cream of planet Earth, God of the universe. That's a man. All right. The universe is man-made. These planets are man-made. We made them.
Indeed.
Our fathers and forefathers made this place for us to stand on.
Indeed. Now, before we close out, I would like to first of all thank you for coming out this evening, man. You always did the last time you did what you did, and this time you came with the heat once again. You know, I really appreciate you, man. And if you have anything you want to say before we cut out.
Well, I appreciate the work that you're doing, brother. And I'm glad and I appreciate you having me back on. It's been a pleasure. Pleasure is all mine to be back on. Thank you for thinking I had something worthwhile to say on your show. I appreciate it. I also like to give a shout out, if I may, to Muhammad's Temple out in Arizona. Muhammad Speaks Now. Out in Arizona, Brother Minister Daniel Shabazz. Daniel Ali Shabazz is the minister out there, and I am a contributing writer for the Muhammad Speaks Now. Okay.
Great. Can you put that back?
Yeah.
Show that again.
Yes, sir. I got my Muhammad Speaks Now. Okay. And see that? I love that picture there. That's iconic. The black man reaching across the globe in brotherhood and unity. Okay. That is the goal. That was the goal of Master Farad Muhammad. That's what he wants for us to do. Unite. He wants us to unite here. Okay. And unite with our brothers and sisters across the globe. All right. Yeah. So I thank you, brother, for the invite. I had some other things to say on it, but see, this is one of them 3-hour shows. We could have kept on going, you know. But
so let's come back and do a part 2.
Okay, we can do that. Allah willing, we can do that. Okay.
So we'll come back and do a part 2. Again, thank you for coming out this evening, and thank you for everybody tuning in. And I will see you next week. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum.